We're going to start today's service by honoring and welcoming our guest musician, Ananda Das. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good to be back. I was just in India for like a month. It was quite nice, yeah. Should we sing a little bit together? Altar of love.
still hearing and feeling the vibes of that song. Standing, sitting in a state of sweet surrender. The highest level of surrender is to you, our Father, Mother, God. We call upon your sweet presence, your glory, your peace, joy, the oneness you offer us, the abundance you offer us. But we know that we have to take responsibility first and make room for your presence. So into our hearts, we welcome all thoughts and beliefs, known to us, unknown to us. All such belief systems that are just erroneous, false imaginings, we put on the altar to you, Holy Spirit, presence of God. We give you our false beliefs about ourselves and others. We are and remain always as God created us to be, but we've manufactured these strange identities and masks of ourselves and each other. Today, onto the altar, we place these. You know which things most need to be surrendered, so feel free to pull them from our being. You know best. And in a state of sweet surrender, we call upon your presence, reaching into our hearts, lifting gently out of our being. With as much unconditional surrender as possible, we give these things up. With as least resistance as possible, we surrender all of this. The things known and unknown, lift them from our being, making a perfect abundance of room so that we can now call in your presence to replace all that was once there. The truth of God. The truth of God. And only the truth of God is true. And it begins with activating our identity, filling us with an ability to love so beyond unconditional, for that matter, a deep, deep sense of love. We are the presence of love. And we extend that to all beings in the world. Religious leaders, political leaders, employers, corporate leaders, we're all in this together. And in this group that we are, the children of God, we anchor in, call in and anchor in the presence of God for us all. May the peace of God be with you. And so it is. Now let's welcome Ananda Das for another song.
All right, I'm feeling some classics. We're going to go into it.
Great Spirit, I hear you calling.
Nice.
Maybe that was for you.
Thank you. Keeping all that alive with us in the room, you can join us in repeating our mission statement. It's on the brochures in front of you, but also it's posted online. Together, please. The global center for Christ consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And so it is. And now our sacred reading for today.
From Mahatma Gandhi, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. A man is a product of his thoughts. What he thinks he becomes. We are the mirror to the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change toward him. This is the divine mystery. Happiness is when what you think, what you are, and what you do are in harmony. And so it is.
Thank you. So as our custom is, I'll ask what topics you would like me to cover today. If you'd be so kind. Whatever's calling you, whatever's important to you. Yes?
What causes various forms of narcissism, and what are we doing to extract it from our lives?
My guess is, summarizing that, why narcissists? Yeah. Oh, well, I can't forget that, and how to get rid of them. There's a book title waiting to happen. Narcissists and how to get rid of them.
Trust and resonance.
Trust, resonance.
Integration.
Hold it. What did you say?
Integration.
Okay, got that. And somebody said trust and something. And resonance, that's it. Hold on. Okay.
Divine embodiment.
Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, some really nice, deep topics. You know, it's even just the one, divine embodiment. It's an interesting concept, divine embodiment, and then we look out and we see narcissists and entities and other things going on in the world. The unhappy dream, the nightmare. So there's all kinds of people with all kinds of issues and illnesses and political issues and war and all this stuff going on. In our divine embodiment, we don't actually see those things the same. When we're standing in our divine embodiment, it's just like you go from, oh, look at this, and oh my God, and God, please help me, and Om Mani Padme, and Jesus help me, all the different prayer techniques because of all the stuff going on. And then that's not actually the way, I mean, would you want a God like that needs therapy and medicine? God is just this state of bliss, you know, and then we send these messages, or whatever form of telegraph or call or text to God. And all it does is it's just noise. And it's like God just looks and says, what's happening? Well, we're hurting because of this and that. But you have everything you need inside to release it. to forgive it. You asked about forgiveness, love and forgiveness. You love the hell out of it. That's what you do. You hold such a state that as any of this starts to move towards the light, it dissipates. It never gets there. It never lands. We think of God as something that gets tired of us or impatient with us. And it doesn't help that holy works that are out there, God's a jealous God, God's an angry God, constantly, like it's so stressful. Being religious is stressful. Being spiritual, is peaceful. Because you start to go, well, I don't have any opinion on the matter. All I want to do is know God's truth about the matter. And then and then that gets wicked because the narcissists, looping that one in there, the narcissists around you are going, it's all about me. And if you don't, respond to my needs, there's something wrong with you. And now you're torn between the truth of God, which is the mother narcissist or the friend narcissist or the boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And not just pure narcissism, but just the selfishness, the shallowness, the hurtfulness, all that. The more you pull into this place of center, the more irritated they get. And then you're now insensitive. Why? Because I'm in the knowing of God? Well, so what they're screaming about is that the God in them? And remember that question. When they're screaming at you in some way or another, is that the God in them? And it isn't. So then how much attention do you want to give it? But it's an interesting thing because you have to know the truth but respect the illusion. So your kids, your roommates, your parents, your partners, people can act up. Strangers on the street, they can act up and just, you don't just, drive by somebody that cut you off and is honking at you and doing all these terrible things. You don't, it doesn't help to drive by them as they're screaming and go, bless you, beloved. Now you made them angry at God as well because you're practicing some sort of spiritual blessing on them. They want what they want. I'm angry and you need to validate my anger. There's a lot of that in politics and economy and so many other things. So you have to respect the illusion. They cut you off and you drive by or you wave like, sorry. Why? I'm not going to say I'm sorry. They're the one. See, that's not God. God would say, what you're saying is you can't afford to apologize when you mess up. But it wasn't my fault. They're you. And they're coming to you today for a lesson. Hi, I'm going to get angry and I'm asking you to teach me something. When you get angry back, they'll say thank you. And so it is. And we just validated everybody's angry. When you don't let it land and you revert to that divine embodiment, it doesn't land. It's like they're dealing with God itself, not in an arrogant way. But you're saying, how can I be the presence today? They lash out and all you are is the presence of love. And it could be sorry about that and so on, right? And something in them is, you understand, they're dancing with God. You brought them something different today. Get angry, flip them off, do all the different things, hand mudras we call them. Do all these different things and all you're doing, it doesn't matter how validated you are or you think you are. I'm saying that on a deeper level, that person, and I guarantee you, on a psychological level, that person is saying, I have forgotten who I am. Can you help me remember? You flip them off back and they'll say, thank you, that's what I thought. You see? Hate. Hate. This is how, amazing when you return love. Go, oops, sorry, you're being kind and that helps them respond kindness with kindness. Your job was not supposed to be invested in the outcome. When you do these spiritual namaste, beloved, and they just enrage more, you're not supposed to go, oh, well then forget, now must go. Now I take back my namaste. Then you'll know that, you're invested in, and is that bad? No, it's just spirituality 101 is your level. You're just at the beginning level. When you can look at the world, the quote from Gandhi today, somebody walks up and shoots him and he's doing a blessing to the person as he falls to the ground to die. He's blessing the person Like that takes a lot. Some of us, again, you can't, somebody can cut in the line at Safeway, which should be a safe place at Safeway, but somebody cuts in line, I will not handle that. Gandhi's blessing the person that shot him, and you can't get over somebody getting in line in front of you. And I get it. It can be frustrating, and you have all this kind of stuff. But the truth is, I'm never upset for the reason I think. See, when a spiritual person, spiritual, not just religious, which is fine to do that, but when a spiritual person has these experiences, they remember somebody cuts in front of me because I have a cart of 1,500 things and they just have a box of Cheerios. But how dare you cut in front, right? How dare you? Now, do you think it's really about the Cheerios? Do you think it's really about the one person cutting in line? No, no, no. This is every time in my life when I've been disrespected. You see? A holy child of God can't actually go, oh yeah, a box of cereal. I hate people with boxes of cereal that cut in line. That's not actually happening right now. It's a very interesting thing about time. If I ask you to think of the past, give me 3 quick regrets, angers, hurts from the past. If I asked everybody to quickly write down 3, it probably wouldn't take you half a minute to come up with 3, right? You just regrets and hurts from the past. If I say to you, tell me 3 worries about the future, you probably could easily come up with some. I got to pay rent, I got to do this, I got to change employees or whatever it happens to be. Just quickly, tell me 3 values of being in the present. And it's not as easy because it becomes philosophical and, well, in the oneness of one with God. And these are easy. Human beings can easily identify with our regrets of the past and our fears of the future. And once upon a time, it's almost like an hourglass shape. Picture this, the vastness of God. And we squeezed ourselves through this little portal into the universe that seems equally vast. Why? Because the universe is supposed to reflect God. As above, so below. But it's not. It's a lie. This one's real, this one isn't. But it's designed to feel like or look like God, such as it's so vast. So is God, right? If the universe was only the size of a grain of sand, you'd be over it already. It has to seem vast. It has to seem out of control. So it's interesting that the timelessness of God squeezed itself through some little pinhole, point, a portal, into the universe that became the Big Bang and all this drama. And in this place called the universe, we have the past and the future. The present isn't here, it's here at the pinpoint. Whenever you say, I'm just trying to learn to be in the moment, okay, let's look at that. How can you be in the moment? And I've talked about this, I think, a few months ago to some degree, but how can you be in the moment? Everything up until right now is still the past. Everything starting now is the future. So where's the present? It's not easy to find. I just want to be in the present. Wait, where did it go? It's already passed. Okay, I'm about to. No, that's the future. Okay, I'm now in the present. It's already gone. You see, it creates anxiety. That's why people need medication, because they catch on. People have psych disorders because they're breaking down because they suspect something's wrong with this picture. They know something's not right here. And they have anxiety disorders, psych disorders of various kinds, and even physical breakdown is coming because the emperor is naked. On some level, our soul knows something's wrong with this picture. Be in the present. How? And it's interesting because the ego will say, first of all, when you even start to, I want to learn to be more in the moment. All it has to do is give you the feeling of one of your past regrets. I would love to be in the moment, but oh my God. I would love to be in the moment, but that would be irresponsible coming with the future. I got to be concerned about this and that, money for a rainy day, and so on and so on. Always something. So the ego, all it has to do is get your attention on something of the past or future, and then you're not here now. And it's kind of like a pendulum. In this pinpoint spot where we went from eternity real eternity to a false sense of eternity. And people can say, isn't the universe marvelous? Look at the beauty. And you know, they say it never ends. The universe is endless. If you sit with that, honestly, you're going to have an anxiety attack, because it means all this stuff that has no reality will never end. See, don't think this is too fancy, this universe. I don't care, rainbows and unicorns and cool things, cute things, nebulas and the beauty. None of it's real. It's just for now. And you can say, I love the beauty in the universe. Really? Let's catapult you out to outer space and see how happy you are once you land there or go there. It's cold. There's no oxygen. It's actually not that cool. It's not that pleasant. The peace of God is all that really matters. Here, the pendulum swings. Here is my memory that I can go home and I'm one with God again. But the pendulum down here swings between the past and the future. You might lean a little more towards the past. You might lean a little more towards the future. But human beings are bipolar. They're all bipolar. They all swing between this one, the regrets of the past, which cause, by the way, depression, or worries of the future, which, by the way, cause anxiety. You can say, I have anxiety disorders. It's fear. You can say, I have depression. It's regret. You see? Start to see through these things instead of being pulled by them. You learn to go to this pinpoint and observe these things from a different place. You see? An observer, a master. I can totally see what's really happening here. It's fantastic if you think about it. But I love the idea that this little tiny pinpoint is the portal to reality. You don't have to get all the way home yet. It's just learning to stand above. It's our divine presence, but it's really our soul level. This is at the level of choosing to remember. In God, there's nothing at all to deal with in any of this. But that pinpoint, there's 3 levels of consciousness, remember, the human, the soul, and the divine. We can affirm the divine, but the human's going to fight that, the human world. Every narcissist, which can be very frustrating dealing with narcissists, but every narcissist is just trying to pull you off center. That's what they're doing. I'm off center. I need you to join me. Because if you start looking like you're kind of centered, it starts to threaten my ego's victory over my soul. I'm broken and I need you to be broken with me. Do my bidding and then I feel even better. If I can get everybody to dance to my tune, it gives me a false sense of being higher than everybody else. Whether it's a control freak, a narcissist, whatever it happens to be. We learn to say, I don't need any of that. I don't need anybody to be anything. I'm just going to work on me being right at that point, that centered point. And I wouldn't just try to do that on your own. I'm going to find all kinds of techniques to keep going back there. Do those things, but also ask for God's support, God's will, God's guidance. You know, I'm a little crazy today, Lord. Help me find this point. Instead of, I'm going to use some techniques to get myself to that point, which still involves work, and it still tempts you to think you have achieved something when you get there. And you'll be proud, and pride comes before a fall. So surrender to the humility. I'm not victor over all the stuff of this world. Instead, we can pause and say, isn't that funny? Man, I know I'm really this. And I know that before I become this, the divine, there's this pinpoint here that is my remembering. I'm cool. I love that. But isn't it funny that this world still pulls me to and fro? That the world still pulls me this way and that way. And human beings that are messing up and trying to pull you off center, it's really insensitive. It's really hurtful. It's really selfish. But they're a reflection of your own doubts. When those people say to you, don't you realize, wake up, man, look at me, I have power. Or if you don't do my bidding, it's because you're insensitive, you're spaced out, you're too airy-fairy. When they try to pull you to this moment, there's something in you that says, do I really deserve peace and joy? And it becomes these people, annoying people. But as long as it's annoying people, you're going to say, I really have to work on it, forgiving annoying people. But there's a point where you go, wait a second. Wow, they're actually testing me. These are voices in my mind called doubt that are projecting out and becoming my regrets of the past, my fears of the future. They're mine. And that takes all kinds of courage, real big courage. So the ego is saying, listen, if you try to get out of this pendulum thing, do you realize, look where you're going? Nothingness. Look how vast life can be. You could be prosperous. You just need a new technique on how to manifest money and cars and cool things. You know what you need? Another drug. Oh, I don't believe in drugs. Oh, this one's natural. Oh, well, I might try that then. Always something to stimulate or sedate. If I'm sitting over this end of the pendulum, real bummed out, you need a stimulant. If I'm over here and I'm really hyperstimulated and anxious, you need a sedative. But the world's always offering you something, and none of it's real, none of it's true. And it says, you want to know the alternative? Here's the vastness of the universe, and you, Mr. Spiritual, Mrs. Spiritual, you want to go to this thing that Michael's describing. Look how big the world is and how beautiful and vast, and he's offering you this. It's like not even this. Why? It's not even there. Past, future, it runs up to this tiny little dot. All that you could have. And spirituality offers you a dot? Who in their right mind would choose that? The point is, on the other side of the dot is God. And that's everything. This is the illusion of everything. This is the real everything. But you got to go through that intimidating idea of giving up the false everything to gain the real everything. But you've got to go through that intimidating thing, which is, if I give up conversations with psychopaths, and if I stop marrying psychopaths, I might have nothing. I'm going to have to live alone. Excellent. Excellent. My God, let's celebrate. Well, I can't. I don't have any friends to celebrate with. You know what? Do what Michael would do. Go buy some cake batter, eat the cake batter raw. But most people don't like raw cake batter like I do. But you can bake the damn thing. Bake it. Make a cupcake. Stick a match if you can't afford a candle. Stick a match in it, blow it out, and sing happy birthday to yourself. Because you're born again. When you say, I don't need crazy, what do you want? The real. Love, peace, joy. And I swear, it's a funny thing. When you celebrate accepting what seems little, the big comes. The real comes. But you've got to have the courage to say goodbye to the false everything before you can gain the real everything. It's kind of like giving up an addiction, because it is an addiction. It's an addiction to the false. But an addiction, you could think to yourself, well, I probably need to give up this addiction. Why? Because it's court ordered. That doesn't mean it's authentic. Well, my wife and kids, my husband, they're going to leave me if I do. That's not authentic. You're being threatened. So that's not the ultimate way. It's better than nothing. The ultimate is that when you just get it, when you just say, this thing isn't me. It's just not me anymore. And it's kind of nice, but the concept is, when you're giving up an addiction, the spirit, the demon of addiction is going to tell you, listen, if you don't have a drink, do you know that, and I've known a lot of clients that have shared this, never being sober when they were intimate, never in their life. So the ego would say, do you know that if you clean up, you're going to have to be sober and present when you're intimate? Oh, no, I can't take that. And they'll give it up. They won't pursue that goal. I'm going to go back to being stoned. And it's that topic, or any metaphor of it. People who say, I like to go out drinking with my friends. I play poker with my friend, whatever it is. The point is, what are you going to do? Like I tried jobs when I was a kid, somebody would help, hey, we'll get you a job in construction. Look at me. Do I look like I can hang out and have a beer and a coffee and a smoke during break time and then, back to whatever contractors and people do? I mean, it never made sense. I mean, I'm just so odd. So it doesn't make sense, but it's like that. Well, if I don't have friends to drink with, that means, and you know what they're going to do? Fine. What you're saying is you don't want me to just have any friends at all. Why don't I just give up being happy? That's the ego talking. On the other side of that pinpoint, when you've had to give up the friends that want you to get stoned or else they won't be your friend. They want you to be drunk or else they won't do this. They want you to give in intimately and you won't do that. Then now they won't date you. I've known so many people who have said, when I said no, the dating ended with that person. Like, that's so weird. But congratulations. You kind of nipped that in the bud, didn't you? Because if you would have said, I'm going to give in, well, look, now I have a boyfriend. No, you don't. You have an agreement. That's all. A mutual usury. When you show up and say no, and they're gone, they never were. Right? And it's hard for them to hear that because they want to be right. Do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy? Happiness, peace, the peace of God. And that means I got to say no to this or that. Now, I personally am not going to say, I've got to say no like it's a fight. I suggest if you have to fight your callings, your addictions, your habits, fine. But there's a point where you just kind of go, there's nothing even to fight. It's not of interest to me. You see, it's not of interest. You could say to me, Michael, let's have a martini. I don't even know what a martini is. But I've heard, James Bond used to say it or something. Shaken, not stirred. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you can shake a glass because it'll spill. But anyway, I don't know anything about that stuff. But the point is, let's have a martini, Michael. My answer would be, no, I'm good. I wouldn't say, a martini? Oh my God, that's alcohol. That's evil. Nor would I go, I got to have one. I don't care. It doesn't interest me. Now, if you said, here's $1,000 to have a martini, it's not of interest, but I'm not fighting it. See, I'm not fighting it. I would possibly say, I'll have a drink with you. Mine will be a root beer, lots of ice. That's it. And I don't want the bottled kind. Okay? So I do my thing. But do I have to have a root beer? No. You see, inside of us, there's a knowing of what we're really about and what really works for us. And it's okay. We don't have to push religiously all of what we want in life or other people to have what we have. There's just this great, it's almost a humorous knowingness. No, I feel good. I'm good. Let's do this. Certain jobs, guys. Some of us have had jobs that aren't us. Then why did you have it? Well, I needed to make a living. God bless you for that. It's okay that if now you're hearing about past jobs, regret, future jobs I need to get or else, it's a very stressful way to live. Somewhere in this tiny little pinpoint, there's a knowing of what I'm ultimately meant to be doing. But I can't access that little point because there's so much going on. I know. So my prayers would be, let me know your will. And then the voice of God that's vast up here can leak through chakra-wise, the upper three chakras. The presence of God can leak through to the pinpoint, which is in my heart and soul. And God starts to inspire me and lift me, show me greater and greater direction. And I know this is a tough one for some people because they'll say, Michael, all the time I pray and I still don't get clear answers. And then they feel upset. Now there's, insecurity coming up because God's not speaking to me as clearly as it did a friend of mine. You see, that's just old stuff again. The voice is always speaking to us. This presence of God is speaking to me all through the day, but I don't always hear it because I'm too occupied with these other two polarities, the regrets of the past and the fears of the future. If God were to say to you, let's say you're in a so-so relationship or so-so job, just so-so, and that's one of the tough ones. Not so bad that you know to leave immediately, but not so good that you want to stay. So it's kind of one of those awkward moments. Now, you're in that. And let's say the voice of God said, leave tomorrow. Wow, oh my God, that's so cool. I just heard the words. Are you leaving? Probably not. Because you'll say, maybe you hadn't noticed, this is called a checkbook. Yep, take a look. We call this a checkbook, bank account. Did God say, once your bank account's full? It said leave. But I don't, as a teacher, I'm not one of those teachers that'll say, just leap and God will catch you. Because I find that to be irresponsible for us as leaders. You could leap and fall and get hurt, and now you're going to resent me for suggesting it. And then if you resent your spiritual leader for suggesting it, you're also subconsciously resenting God because God abandoned you. I want people to get to the point where they can feel it and know that it's true for them, rather than my teacher said, right? So if you hear the words, leave tomorrow, what does it mean? It could mean start cutting the ties psychologically. It could mean start an exit strategy, and it could mean leave tomorrow. So, do I just, get on a skateboard? Or can I take the car? I don't know if the car's in my name. Why don't you know that? Get in your body. So maybe you didn't hear the full sentence. Maybe God said, get in your body and then leave tomorrow. But you didn't hear get in your body because you're too spaced out to hear get in your body. So take these things on a practical level and live these things on a practical level. God never wants its children to be in danger. Remember that. Which would also mean if you have a physically abusive, psychologically abusive roommate, housemate, partner, whatever, you probably shouldn't stay because God doesn't want you to be punished like this or damaged like this. Well, I can't leave because, and then here it comes. We have children together. We have this, we have money enmeshed. I don't know what to tell you because every circumstance is different and no one should tell you, you must do such and such. I would just say start moving in that direction. The sooner the better. And when you do, dealing with these, challenging kinds of people and so on, and you're some of you were asking about being a responsible person. This is what it means to me. Listening to the guidance of God and then putting it in practice in a practical form. Like guidance, receive inspiration, focus, and go. That's 3 traits of mastery. Inspiration, focus, and go. You don't just inspiration and go. You don't just inspiration, focus, and sit there. To be living in mastery, and if you don't know how to live mastery, you'll never know divinity, because mastery is halfway home. So if you're still sitting around doing nothing and being a victim, you're just a human being. That's fine, but you're suffering. Buddha saying, the world is suffering. You're living as a victim human being. Step up. I feel inspired to do something. Right, let's go. I don't know how to do it. Just start putting it out there. You don't have to know all the details. Well, I don't know how to deal with a divorce. It's so a friend of mine went through divorce. It's so hectic, and it doesn't have to be. But there's ways. Get a free consultation with an attorney. They do have such things. The free consultation with an attorney. Can you tell me? I'm really intimidated. I'm really scared. How do I go about this? Well, you would need to do this and this. You know what I would do? I'd print out one of the checklists they'll give you, and I would start knocking things off the checklist. Before you know, you're done. The human mind, because the ego wants you to focus on things to worry about, past or future. So it'll say, the ego. You wake up. Oh my God, I feel like there's hope. I'm going to probably have to end this relationship or this job or whatever it is. The ego goes, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You think it's looking out for your best interest? No, it isn't. It wants you to suffer. Some people say the ego, the egos are our hateful self, or the part of us that hates ourselves, okay? That's one definition, the ego self. Now, I'm not just talking about the psychological shadow ego in psychology. I'm talking about the spiritual version, the self-loathing. That part has no intention for you to thrive today. And some people say, well, the ego really wants to kill you. No, the ego wants you to suffer. It doesn't just want you dead, because then you're not suffering. It wants you to suffer, believe it or not. Even though it's true, it wants you dead. It also wants it to be a long suffering death. And that's called partnerships, and it's called finances, and it's called jobs, all of which are stressful. All of these need to be turned around and seen from a different place. To be able to have children and thrive and provide, to have a house and provide, to have a car and be able to support that and put fuel in it. We're meant to be able to be prosperous and loving and just have a wonderful experience, but the ego has no intention of any of that. And one thing it's doing is, you're at the pinpoint. Here you are. Let's just pretend I snap my finger. Everybody's right there. Everybody's centered and like alive, ready to go. Cool. All the ego has to do is go, boo, and you're going to be down here somewhere. It's just one thought. You're really, look at you. All spiritual, the ego says from the pits of hell down here. Look at you up on your high horse and, your chariot of light. Yep, doing really well. I really am proud of you. Oh, well, thank you. If it weren't for that, that one thing you did. What? Oh, I forgot about that. And it pulled you off. You're down here. There's a regret. Or, you're doing really well. How long will it last? I just feel the bliss of God. whatever, let's say 55 years old, 50 years old, whatever. And I'm feeling, oh my God, I went to this sacred service, the songs, the feeling, the sacred reading, the talk, it was amazing. I just feel so great at 55. This voice is going to say, you know, your mother died when she was 56. I better start worrying about that. It cannot allow you to be at peace, and there's a reason. If you go to the point of peace, it ceases to exist. So your ego is fighting for your life, its life. And it tells you that you're it. So it makes you think you're fighting for your life because it's fighting for its life, and it makes you think you're your ego. What do I do with all this? Breathe. Practice breathing and recognizing this is not who I am. That's what happened. That's what might happen. And none of it matters. There's a great story I'll share with you, very brief. The woman who received A Course in Miracles, she had a lot of miraculous visions that happened before the Course came through. But one of them, which I shared with you about a year ago, one of them was she had this vision where there was a scroll placed before her. And she opened the scroll, and right in the middle it said, God is. Then she was told, if you unroll the scroll to the left, you will be able to channel and know, like Edgar Cayce, everything about the past. Atlantis and what year this happened and the Tower of Babel and all the past lives of all the past. Unroll the scroll to the right and you'll know all the future. Now you're Nostradamus or whatever. Now this is the Akashic Records. You can know anything from here or know anything from here. She said, I rolled it back up and left it with God is, and the voice said, congratulations, you passed this time. And that's every one of us. You want to go to the pinpoint? God is. No regrets. You can know your past lives. You can know possibilities of the future, but you never lose your center with it. Now here's the trick. If you hold your center and you say, well, aren't past lives important? What about future? Why go to a psychic? Well, watch. If you're pulled out of your center to look at the past or future, it's unhealthy. But what's righteous is to stay in your center, bring your past to the present for healing, bring the future to the present for inspirations. Now I have some guidelines on where I'm going with my life, but I never lose my center. I never get pulled over to it. Does that make sense? That important point. You let it come to you in your center. I know it sounds kind of strange. It's almost a paradox. It either has value or it doesn't. It has a value, but not the ones humans give it, not the ones the egos give it. The value of the past and future, it can be valuable when put in God's hands. And generally speaking, the only value of the past is what have I learned from it? When I say what have I learned, now watch. Oh my God, I'm back to that again. What do I do? And I've got to make that better, but I can't. I argued with that person and then they passed away and now it's too late. You never win. But you can say, whatever it is, known and unknown pieces, I'm bringing to the present to prayerfully surrender it. What can I learn from it? You know what I can learn is this. And now the person at the pinpoint is actually expanding in consciousness. You took something that's an illusion and turned it into something that's now real, a healthy, real thing for you because you gained from it. If there's anticipations, anxieties, and fears of the future, the same thing. So what if? Well, I'm worried this might happen. And keep worrying about it, and you're intensifying the likelihood that that's what's going to happen. What would you like to happen? Well, I want this. No, are you describing it as though you're in the stuff of the world? Or do you want to hold your center and say, I get it. Here's what I'm going to, and this is what I do generally each day. I make no decisions alone today. I make them with God. So now what I do is I'm insisting that I'm at that pinpoint. I am centered in God. I'm not here trying to manifest my reality, like people say. I'm not sitting here trying to practice the laws of abundance and all these techniques that are very popular. Manifestation. I'm not there trying to make my better life. I'm here just simply saying this. If I am part of God, what would my future look like? Not how can I make my future better? No. If I'm, just go with that. Theoretically, if I'm part of God, what would it already look like? And let it co-create itself. It's easy. but I'm not going to do it from the fearful me. I need things to be a certain way. You know, it could be like, I need a partner and they need to be this person, that person. I'm specifying people, the name, the height, whatever, everything about them in my future. And then you get somebody and you go to your friends, oh, I manifested, you know, because I took this workshop on how to manifest or whatever they call that technique, you know, all this manifestation stuff, you know, and it's like the person's a psychopath. Now, 3 weeks later, you're going, oh, I didn't know they were psychopath. Did you co-create it with God? No, but stop. Stop. It's come from your center. Yeah, but it might have taken longer. See, that's an addict. There's a great story about this popular bass player for Yes. His name was Chris Squire. He passed away. But there's a funny story, and he's total addict in every kind. He was an addict at every level. But this is the mindset of an addict. No offense. It's just, I think it's funny. So they're going to go on tour. And the agent, their manager says, well, now we have an option. We're going on tour. The tour might go well because they're launching their careers. It might go well. Now, if it doesn't, and we book high-end flights and high-end hotels, we're going to all be broke. We can play it safe and only spend a little. And if it doesn't go well, we don't lose too much. And the bass player goes, yeah, but what if it does go well? We could have been living high all the time, you know? So, and everybody's looking at him like, what an odd way to look at it. He was like wanting to make something out of nothing. Yeah, but what if it does go well? Then we're going to regret that we didn't live higher. And it's just a viewpoint, but it's a certain kind of viewpoint. It wasn't a practical one. It was more like I want to hypothetically live somewhere else that isn't right now. So if you tell a child, there's a monster under your bed, good night, shut the door. Is there a monster? No, it's completely not true. Agreed? But in the mind of the child, it's very real, could be very terrifying, right? That's what the ego does with the past and the future, but it gives you haunting thoughts to obsess on. The ego also could say to you, you know, there's probably someone out there for you. Now what it's doing is baiting you with pseudo-positives, but you're still not in the moment. You're talking about something that might be a nightmare or a happy dream, but it's still a dream. I don't want to live in the dream world anymore. I'm going to co-create the truth of God wherever I am. You see? The truth of God. So I don't decide whether to take those flights if I'm that musician. I don't decide based on just the typical head trips. Well, you know, we want to manifest the best, so let's go for it, even though we could go broke, but I'm going to worry about going broke. See, it doesn't allow peace. What would God have me do? And you might get an inspiration that says, find a middle path between the two. Not too basic and not too opulent. You see? It's in the mindset of the person. Other musicians have gone on tour and held a really beautiful mindset. The band Queen, they became the #1 grossing band for years in Guinness Book of World Records. But when they asked, you know, the lead singer, Freddie Mercury, how did you guys do this? He said, well, one of the things we always did, we just set a plan and we just did it. We never said plan B. No, everything we do is going to work. And it worked for him. The other guy had this odd talking himself into certain things. But in Mercury's mind, we never thought about what if it doesn't work? We just set a course. And that's what I suggest people learn to do. But that was his mindset. If it's not yours, it won't work. For me, almost never has something not worked out. But I typically am doing what I can to stay in my center. I try not to create things ambitiously. I'm not an ambitious kind of person. I'm really not. I mean, people try to make me ambitious, and sorry, to them, if working so hard to make me ambitious. Michael, we can get you on a talk show. Why? What would we talk about? What are you going to put me on some whatever kind of popular show? And I'm like, well, yeah, but why? What do they want to talk about? Do you really think you're going to put me on one of these standard talk shows? I don't know if they still have those, the morning shows they used to have, and say, we want to know about God. That's typically not what they're into. It's more like, so we heard, oh, you're one of those believers in whatever it is, ascension, UFOs. I would sit there and go, well, of course. And they would look for an angle on how to shoot it down. I'm not interested. Now, do I believe that they're also maybe open-minded to things? Maybe. I'm not here to convince anybody or convert anybody. I'm not the type. You could say, we're going to give you $1 million a year to join a certain kind of church, and we want you to convert people. It's not, I can't. That means I have to talk you into something. All I can do is bridge, and it's interest of yours or it isn't. So in your lives, watch for how you can be the presence of God as a bridge. Listen to people and where they're coming from, but lead them to sanity. Do not jump to their side and sink with them when they're sinking. Hand them a hand. Hand them a branch if they're sinking in quicksand. Offer them something. If they don't want to take it, step back. Oh, I can't. Well, then jump to the other side and sink with them. And as you do, remind yourself, I'm coming back to do this again because I didn't do it right. The only right way of doing things is the centered way of doing things. Right? Correct? Yes. So the child who has either of those two experiences is in a very sad place, but it's real to them. So you don't tell people they're wrong per se. What you can do is be an example of what it's like to be at peace. Someone can say, but my friends are trying to tell me to end a relationship. I can't. It's too terrifying. You can't tell them they're wrong for being afraid. You can't tell people they're wrong for being angry. This world does make you sad and scared and angry, but what you want to do is reflect that. Yes, I know. I am sometimes afraid too. See, that's bridging. Validate where they're at, then offer, and here's what I did. Here's what you might try. You throw things out like that. If they don't take the hand, the offering, the branch, guys, you have to let it go. And they sink, and you might say, now, I'm never going to get the sound out of my mind of blah, 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 as they sank. And it's got to be my part. Maybe I should have done more. I could have been a buoy. No, a bridge, not a buoy. You don't jump in and say, hold on to me and we'll definitely get through this. No, now you're just both at the bottom of the quicksand. Be careful. If you love yourself, and new agey people, we love ourselves. You're doing circles, and everybody stands in circles and does, we love ourselves, we love ourselves. And yet these dysfunctional relationships where people are abusive and you're allowing it. You don't love yourself. If you do, something changes. And I close with this idea. The idea of being born again. What does it mean? Well, there's a fundamental Christian version of it, but wait. To be born again actually means to remember that you're the Christ of God. You're the child of God. So being born again just means remembering who we are. And that's valid to say. Born again also means all these other things, but ultimately this is what it means. I'm not going to do things the way I used to when I was insane. I'm catching on now. See, and that's why it feels good to be born again. Now they can say born again Christian, whatever. They call it that because Christ, as Jesus was saying, there's a new life waiting for you. But really what he's saying is it's the one you abandoned. So to be born again means let's go back. Let's awaken. It's nice. All it is remembering. And every time you choose that still point, every time we choose that pinpoint, we're being born again. One apostle says, I die daily. Keep dying daily to all the lies. Now, does that mean we snap our finger and everybody and permanently? It's a muscle that has to be worked. Spirituality is a muscle that has to be worked. Boundaries are a muscle that have to be worked. It has to become your intention. I'm not just saying it. I'm not just in the mood to say I want peace, love, holiness, and whatever. I'm living it. Every day, I'm going to bounce back to this point. Today I got hooked in this worry. Oh my God, that's funny. Back. What can I learn from that? I learned that I'm pretty good when it comes to certain things. I bounce back quickly. But certain things people do, that's when I really lose it. Now you know a weak area of yourself and you work it. It works if you do the work. And the same with obsessing on the future. So just keep an eye on yourself. If it's not obvious, the big R, word, responsibility. Without responsibility, you cannot have any true spiritual growth. You cannot. You can't have recovery. You can't have spirituality. You can't have healing. You can't have anything healthy without the word responsibility, because it's still other-oriented, outer-oriented, blame-oriented. And you can't get anywhere while others are in some way offending your path. Okay? You can't get anywhere without responsibility. Now, blame, I didn't say. You don't blame yourself. It's responsibility. A couple of centering breaths on that idea. Responsibility. These are mind games of the ego. I'm undeserving. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the willpower. I don't have the finances. Stop. Set your course first. Set your course. And then you'll watch the pieces start falling into place. If you don't even allow yourself to set a course, really, can you really be shocked you're not getting anywhere? Ask for God to bless you with an inspiration called direction. Don't tell God what direction you want to go and then how to do it, get you there. No, just, I don't know, but I know I want healthiness. And God might work a miracle between you and your partnership because you went for healthiness, not getting your way. But I go for healthiness. If a partner can join me in that, wonderful. If they don't, I'm still going there. If you set this course with your children, kids, our household from now on, it's going to have this thing, a tone, a key, musical key called peace and happiness. You guys want to be happy? Yes, we do. Great. Then from now on, and on the refrigerator, we're going to have peace and happiness posted. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to have bad days, kids. I love you, and you'll be sad, you'll be this and that, friends will move away. I get it. But remember this, peace and happiness. Peace and happiness. If you want cereal in the morning, you pour cereal. Then you pour milk and you put some sugar, whatever. You go that direction. If you want peace and happiness, kids, let's start doing the proper steps to get there. Be that peace that you'd like to see in the world. But it doesn't mean enable behaviors. So for a moment, you're in that still point. Look back for a moment. Any regret, let the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother, let her help you come up with one that she knows is important for today. Any regret, somebody you're hating. I know it's a strong word, but somebody you just hate, somebody you're angry at, or something you regret, something done to you or something you did. Let it come to your mind right now. Don't try to brush it away. Don't try to say, oh, no, I'm beyond it. I'm spiritual. Stop. Trust her to bring it forward. And all I want to ask you is this. If you distilled it all down, you put it in the alchemist's equipment, and you distilled and burned away all the base metal, and there was a drop of gold you could extract from it. In other words, what could you honestly learn from that experience? What can you learn honestly, spiritually, guys? What can you extract? And then just check in a little and look. I don't have as much charge with that regret when I've extracted gold from it and see I got something. I learned something from it. Good, you're a better person now. Own that you're a better person. Give thanks that that worked. Regarding the future, think of something that makes you anxious, something you're worried about in the future. a change, where you're going to be, whatever it happens to be, health, the future. Let the Holy Spirit help you bring it up. Will I ever have a healthy partnership, soulmate thing? And just see it. Does worrying about it bring it to you? Do you think the frequency of anxiety would be a good place to be launching that new thing? If I had to choose between my making it happen today or trusting in the Spirit of God to manifest the most perfect version of this or anything else, can I do that? Can I surrender and trust? If I have to choose between that thing I'm worried about manifesting in a good way versus the peace of God eternally, which one would you choose? And let the charge on it dissipate. And we rise to that pinpoint above. We're in our heart and soul. In this place, nothing else matters. Nothing of the past, nothing of the future. We're not in denial. We're just clear. None of this matters. It has no real power over me when I'm centered in the truth of who I am. A hand or two on your heart or not at all is fine. Just whatever you'd like to do. This concept, the truth of who I am in my heart, is all that matters. The voices below of the ego, of the past or future, mean nothing and have no real value. They're the ego's attempt to pull me out of my center into the stuff, and I'm not interested. Hear that and feel that. Hold that presence for a minute longer, please. What if that sound, what if that song, the notes, the lyrics, the vibe, the intention, what if it's God singing into your soul, giving you faith that you can pull this off, whatever it is, your new life? You can pull off being in your center. What if that voice is giving you strength beyond what you think has power over you? Wow, really? Yes. If the musician, if your prayers set the intention that this is God, then it is God. I absolutely believe you can do this. And far more than you imagine is what God says. Please stand. If you're comfortable to do so, otherwise you can sit again. Please turn to a person, look in their eyes, and one at a time to the other. I absolutely know you can do this. Return the statement back from the other person. I absolutely know you can do this. Good job. Thank you. Turn to someone else and do it again. Folks online, I absolutely know you can do this. This cannot not be true. I absolutely know you can do this. And so it is. Please have a seat. Did it feel okay hearing someone say that to you? Good. Did it feel okay saying that to someone? Do you know how amazing just saying that? Like the difference you can make in someone's life. They could be sitting there going, wow, which is what you do when you go here. Wow, because you feel right behind you is the whole presence of God. But there's a point where I will no longer be at the pinpoint looking at my life, comparing like the wow moment to the, oh, of course. When you turn your attention back into God, it's no longer wow, it's, well, of course. But this is good enough for now. The wow factor this way. Of course you can. And of course it feels good to extend that. And you know, people's lives can be changed forever because somebody says, I know you, of course, you can do this. You have all the power of God with you when it comes to setting your course for a new life. You can try to manufacture the new life from your fearful self, the past or future self. But oh my God, when we get to that center point, how nice to let people know they have value and that there's something in them beyond the stuff that they're told and programmed. You know, and I'm very sorry for the hurts that happen on this planet. Some of the most disgusting things a person can even imagine go on every day. For all the different labels we have for it, it's terrifying, it's terrible. But it's the ego's attempt to get you to talk and focus on this stuff. Well, what do? Supposed to ignore it? No. Go to this place and see it differently. You don't have to ignore it. You can still give money to the poor, still hug a person that's crying, but do it from here instead of being part of the problem, arguing and hating. If I saw some sort of rally where two groups are arguing and one of them's like love, 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 and the other's screaming hate, I'm just going to walk over to that group. And they'll say, oh, do you believe it? I don't even know what your group's about. I just like your attitude. It's true. And I'll close with this. One of my kids once, she wanted to go to a concert. And it was this big to-do. This was like so much emotion behind this whole thing because some going to the concert wasn't happening and her friends, and they were all just crying, you know, just dramatic. You know, oh, life is ending because we missed this concert. So I said, well, the person's performing again tomorrow instead of 2 hours south, it's 2 hours north. Yeah, but no, it's too late. We can't. I'll get you tickets. You guys can go. And they all made a card. You're the best guy in the world. You're the wonderful guy. I got this card that they all signed, whatever. So I took them to see Marilyn Manson. Yeah, judge me. Do you think I care? I'm here. You're here, okay? So I took them to see Marilyn Manson. And I brought a video camera. And it was great. Outside, all the Mansonites were in line. And they had the black gothies, the leather and the chain and the piercing, all kinds of wicked looking. And you know what? Those people were totally quiet in line. Standing to the side were the Christians. Do you know you're going to hell? Manson's the devil. And I'm like, and I'm filming all of this. Is amazing. The dark, demonic ones are, and barely said a word, I swear to you. I remember one guy going, but we're not having a problem with you. That's the most that was said. These people, no hatred. It's really amazing. The people that were the Christians were totally hating on them. You see? Now, if I'm going to stand by anyone there, I'm going to stand with sanity. That's how it's going to be for me. However, if I heard Spirit say, Michael, go stand and hang out with the Christians too, I would have walked over there and stood with them. And I wouldn't have said, yeah, let's hate. I would have said, isn't it weird how music can be such a charge? I would have found a way to bridge. I would have said, yeah, I kind of get tempted too. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. The things the guy says or whatever it happens to be. You see, bridging a little, validate a bit so that they can hear what you want to say rather than shutting the door all the time. A mom brought me her kid, and this mom was saying she won't talk to anybody. It's been a long time. She refuses to speak to anybody. We don't know what to do with her. It's hopeless. It was a really bad situation. She walked in, hi. She's like, I said, oh, have a seat, and the mom I immediately dismissed because I thought this is going to be better, so mom needs to leave. And I said, oh, cool. She had a Marilyn Manson shirt. I said, oh, cool. Do you like it? Oh, and now she's speaking. Validating, see? Oh, you like Manson? Yeah. I got all his albums, man. And doing the whole thing, and I'm like, cool. The one song I love of his, I think I only know one song. But I said, it's like amazing. You got drugs that'll make you feel this way and drugs that'll make you feel that way, but when it all wears off, you still have to deal with yourself. That's what I said to her. She's like, the lyrics? And she's like, Mom, trying to get Mom in, because you don't just tell them what they're wrong about. Tell them you see some point of what they're saying. But it doesn't mean I'm saying to her, and the drugs and everything you're doing are good. I'm not saying that. And if she's out of line and she's messing up and she's causing violence or harmed others, I'm going to say that. But you reach in, man, and try to reach them where they're at first, because that's what love does. I hear what you're saying. That's okay to do. However, we need to go here. Enough of this. And I got this child to, in an hour, I got her to see, yeah, you're right. I went too far. See, I didn't just enable the kid. You're great. You're valid. Your parents are messed up. When the session was over, I had both parents come in. They sat there and I said, tell them your greatest fear. And now, Dad was big dude, sheriff. Mom was a well-known psychotherapist, psychiatrist or whatever. And if you're watching, hi. But you know what? But it ended with, tell them your fears. And she said, I'm afraid that you don't like me anymore, that you don't love me. And the parents are like, what? See, I got her to go to where she's really trying to come from. She's terrified. There's a part of me that's expressing, and I don't know what it is or how to do it in a way that you like, so I think you hate me now. They both started crying, and then the kids crying, and they hadn't talked in months. And they're all crying and holding each other. And that's a miracle. But the miracle could not have been done if I would have said, so, Marilyn Manson, huh? Get that shirt off and put on a Jesus shirt or whatever, compromise, Marilyn Christ, or Jesus Manson. I don't. No, it's okay. It's okay to say, cool shirt, great songs, love the lyrics. And what else? Why are your parents so mad at you? Well, I did this. Whoa, really? Are you good with that? No, but I'm just so angry. So it wasn't your will to do it, right? You see what I'm doing? Bridging. Validate, and then show, here's the direction you could go. And she did. If she would have said, I'm still going to stay angry and hurt and hateful and whatever, fine. But I would have been done having a conversation with her. So do what you can to bridge with people, but let go. Change what you can, accept what you cannot. Sometimes they won't listen until you stop talking and stay away from them. We're going to do a couple of announcements and then our closing prayer. Thank you. First, can anyone share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense or might be the most helpful to them? All of it?
You said a lot. I really like what you said when you said you can do this.
You can do this. Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's really a big job to get to that center
Yeah.
because of all the trash.
Yes.
Even though,
Feels like a major accomplishment to get to that point, given all the other stuff.
you know, I haven't gotten there. I know that.
If God is with me, what could be against me? Who else? Yes.
Between the past regrets
Mm.
that create depression
Yeah.
and the anxieties of the future, there's a point in this center.
Isn't that something? Somewhere between the regrets of the past and the fears of the future, the anxieties of the future, there's this pinpoint. Now, I mean, this is more extreme than the lottery. If someone said, I want you to give me every dime you own, even house, mortgage, all that type, all that you own, and we're going to give you 10 times the amount. But the odds are this much. Who would invest in such a thing? That's what the ego says. I have all the material to keep you from wanting to go in that direction. I mean, come on. I love you, man, which it doesn't. I'm just looking out for your best good, which it isn't. I'm going to try to get you to take your sanity and invest it right here where you're barely living. So being born again means you're going to come to life. I thought I was alive. No, you weren't. What, I had a lot of money and fame. Even more dead. The more conversation you're having about this world, whether it's terrible stuff that happened to you or whether you think you're better than everybody else, the more you're in this world. This is such an amazing thing to get to the I don't know. Such a state of surrender. That's a great prayer of the divine feminine. Goes from I know everything, the undivine masculine, to the divine feminine. I don't know. But if I don't know, then God can show me. See, I turn my cup this way. You see? Instead of my focus being down here, it's I don't know. And then I get to be filled with what does know, the divine. A last person or two who had their hands up. Yes?
I really loved how you spoke about something that I'm taking with me is you spoke about how you can kind of grab that thing from the past or the future.
Start the sentence over with we can.
How we can bring something from the past
Yeah.
or the future into this moment and bring it into the now.
Right.
What can I learn from this?
Right.
What
Right.
little piece of gold is
Right.
in this?
Right. And it extracts the value from the big experience and the regrets. What can I learn from this? And you can extract gold. And you notice how what I said was instead of saying, you explained how, I have nothing to do with it. Then you go, we can, and now that's a teaching statement, not a quote of Michael's. You see the difference? So everybody practice that in your lives. I don't care if it's a lyric from a song, it's like, oh, wow. If nothing happens for you today except that you run into somebody and they're talking about getting stoned again and again, you say, you can say Marilyn Manson said, but you can also just say there's a pill to make you numb. a pill to make you dumb, and whatever happens, you still have to deal with yourself when it all wears off. I'm paraphrasing. But the point is, it's like, this is the truth. Share what you know to be true as a teaching. Everybody's got to get used to mastery and teaching and not just quoting, which is fine. But it's really cool when you can say something that's true, because that too is a test. Do you believe it? I'm not so sure, so I'll make it their quote. You know what I mean? You know, Gandhi said, and I'm not so sure, but I think he said this, and I don't know if it's true. It's nice when you can say, you don't have to be arrogant about it, but just, if someone's in front of you, they need to hear something that you're saying, so let it happen. Now, that doesn't mean every word out of people's mouths is God. It almost never is. It's ego, and you can tell. When there's a lot of I need to be heard. I need to be seen. I need to say something. I need to speak the truth. Oh, really? That's not I. That's I. Lowercase I. It's the ego I am not, instead of the divine I am. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome, hon. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. We're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. It only takes a couple minutes, so thank you for your time. Folks online. Yeah? You want to do it? Can you do that? Get your love offering. Here, come here. It's all right. Get your love offering. My life is so much better now because I've met the man of my dreams. Nice. He's like, pull the cord, eject. How can I get off this stage right away? Our love offering, let's hold it to our hearts. Be as generous as you can be, folks. Thank you. And all of our hearts are extending special thanks to someone that made a generous donation this week. God bless you. God bless you for your situation and for your help, for thinking of us. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
Namaste, everybody. Just wanted to explain a little bit more about what's happening this weekend for any of you who might be interested. It's obviously the equinox. We're celebrating this changing of the seasons, and always a potent time to just connect with our soul, connect with God, Spirit. And one of the ways I love to do that, of course, is through music and through singing. So obviously you heard that next Friday I'm going to be offering a kirtan and concert, heart song devotional concert here in the evening, 7 o'clock. But before that, you might also want to join a singing workshop with me that I think is at 2 o'clock. You have to double check the time, but it's earlier in the afternoon on Friday. And then for those of you who might be interested in taking a deeper dive with me with the whole Bhakti Yoga world, on Saturday morning, I'll be offering a yoga class, and it's themed to Saraswati, the goddess of sound and speech. New beginnings, as spring is such a nice time for new beginnings. And then I close it with a beautiful cacao ceremony where we're going to be honoring the directions, honoring grandmother, grandfather, Great Spirit, and just really heart-opening, devotional connection of the heart. So that's happening this weekend. I would love for you to join me. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes. You can look at our newsletter to read more about it. You can go on our website to read more about it, and there's flyers in the foyer. But definitely check it out. His experiences, people just praise these all around the world, but we've had such great feedback with those who have attended here. I want to remind you that the Daughters of Heaven tickets are on sale. That's our conference in September. The Daughters of Heaven, if you don't know what that is, go to the website, Daughters of Heaven. There's a book on the Daughters of Heaven and so on, but if you sign up now, you save quite a bit. It's only a few $100s for the whole weekend anyway, but you can save a good portion of that if you sign up early, so please do so, all right? And the last couple of announcements. Today, we've got our psychic fair from 1 to 4. It's some of the best in the region, coming as far as like Tucson and Phoenix to north and so on. We have several readers here with a variety of skills, doing everything from shamanic energy healing, animal communication, intuitive readings, psychic mediums, tarot cards, all kinds of really beautiful things. It's so insightful, but if you're making any decisions in your life of any kind, but just general guidance is great. But if you're making decisions, it's smart to tune in and get some feedback from somebody that might just give you clarity from spirit as well as just objective advice. So I recommend it for anybody. And you can, if you're online, you can still call the office and they'll help you connect either during this day or a different time. You can see any of these readers if you don't live in the area. All right. This Wednesday, we have our spiritual gathering, or we make a circle here. It's kind of a support group and learning healing skills and so forth. So you can join us here for that. It's 4 to 6 on every other Wednesday. And we have an advanced skills and counseling workshop coming up next Sunday afternoon. So if you're interested in advanced skills in counseling, spiritual counseling. The last couple things, if you're watching online, God bless you. Please remember, we have, remind me again in a sec. Please remember, we have, now I forgot what I was saying. If you're online, yes. Thank you for being online. But remember, we have Sunday live online, and then we have recordings of it on either YouTube or Facebook. But also, we have a Monday program. You go to a Facebook page called Friends of Michael Mirdad, or you can go to the Daughters of Heaven Facebook group. Either one of those will get you into a couple of other things we do in the on Saturday and Monday morning. Just if you want to join us for some other deep dives into spirituality, okay? And crystal bed sessions are available. We have a healing room out here, the round building out here. And in there, the crystal bed, you can go in and receive some really, really beautiful regeneration and healing of different kinds. Lastly, we've gotten installed our you may have seen it, the angel image out here on the side wall. Cool, huh? So when you're leaving today, if you're wanting to, you can take a picture in front of it and all that's kind of cool. But we're going to take some pictures of a few volunteers that step up there so we can put them on our website to let people know that that project's done. All righty? All right. Please stand for our closing prayer. How's everyone feeling? Wonderful. Good. Did you enjoy the sharing with each other as well?
Yes.
Good. Hands on your heart, giving thanks to the person that shared with you. Remember, you might not even know them. You may know them, but you might not even know them, and yet they were able to say to you, hey, listen, I got it. Spirit's with me, and I'm telling you, you can do this. But they were also confiding in you when you were sharing that with them. You understand that? It's not easy for people always to be able to confide and open their hearts. So it's nice to have a safe place where we can do that. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. God bless you all. Peace be with you all. Thank you online, folks.